This is Slam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojernov and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Slam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojernov. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98. And I'm with
Paul Zwambag. You can find me at Zwambag, Z-W-A-M-B-A-G. How's it going, everybody? Peter, what's up?
The Leafs are killing it. Mitz Marner. That's right. I'm calling him Mitz. He's Mitz. Mitz Marner. He's outstanding. Outshining Matthews. Leafs are playing well. Looks like we expected. I think Leafs are going to get a lot of goals. Just hopefully the defense can hold up together.
Yep.
So
playing against the backups.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. What about your Pens? Huh?
We fell asleep last night. I'm glad I didn't watch the game. I'm glad I went to volleyball rather than watching the game. So I missed the horrible game.
Oh man, it double annoyed me because I have only two teams, fantasy teams. One has Holtby, one has Fleury, and Murray was playing. I was like, okay, and Washington was playing well. I was happy about that, and then they pull Murray after what happened, that whole incident. What was Malkin doing? I don't know. Let's shoulder my goalie, take off his helmet off, then I'll, mess up the defenseman and slam my stick in Murray's face. What the hell? You know what? It doesn't look that bad though.
No, I don't understand. Yeah, he had to go for concussion protocol, but then he's now day to day. So
yeah, so that's kind of odd. It didn't look that bad, but
maybe he's got like a broken nose or something.
Yeah, you never know. So and then I have Fleury. He comes in cold, and he lets in so many goals, ruins my stats too. And then, of course, Pittsburgh has to score one goal late, so I don't get a shutout for Holtby.
My fantasy is much worse because I had Murray and Fleury, and because I got the handcuff. So I played them both just because I was like, God, I'm going to volleyball. I'm not going to check who's starting. And they both get lit up, and they both have a 6.0 goals against average and terrible save percentage, and blew up my stats for the entire week. So, yeah, that sucks. Don't ever start two goalies on the same team.
So you're playing against me in our pool right now.
Ooh.
Are any of those on your team? No,
probably
I don't
think so. No.
It's tight. I think you have a slight lead on me, 4-3. I think right now, or last time we checked, at least. So, if people out there haven't gone yet, our Saturday's picks. Check them out. What did we do last week, Paul?
You are 28-17. I am 32-13.
And how did we do last Saturday?
I'm pretty sure you only got one wrong.
Whoo, 10. I think I went 10-1.
I believe, it was 10-1 and 9-2. I went
for you. So, if you need help making your picks, folks, go on our website and check out our Saturday's picks. We're killing it, folks. If you need help, the last 2 weeks specifically, we're just destroying it. Me and Paul are both making some amazing picks, and we'll see if it continues, but I have a good feeling about it. Also, check our blogs. Mine is finally up. My short review on NHL 17, if you can call it that. And I'll be posting another one soon, and we're going to be doing those a few every month. So what do we have this episode? We have Team ISO, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Our guest is Allison Lucan. We have Compare Anisimov versus Simmons. Paul and I are going to go against each other. I've got Anisimov. He's got Simmons. And then Paul has a fantasy tip for us. We've got a few trade rumors per se. And then round up with, there's a few bit of injuries Paul wants to talk about. Right, Paul?
Yeah, there are injuries galore. Injury Ninja has hit the NHL big time.
And, so trending now, Steven Stamkos. Is he done? Is his career over, Paul?
I hope not. I hope not.
His leg looks like it's beyond repair. I don't know which one it is right now. So it's actually a meniscus tear. And when I was thinking about what to say, I was thinking, I even emailed Paul. I'm like, it looks like he could be out at least 3 months. And I was almost right. It looks like I think, did he have the surgery today?
I don't know if he had. I haven't seen anything if he's had the surgery or not.
Oh,
But
maybe it was another player. I'm not too sure. But they're saying it's 4 to 6 months. So we'll see what happens there. You know what? You got to feel bad for such an outstanding player and a great player to watch. Stammer keeps on getting these crazy leg injuries. I'm just watching it right now. They're showing the replay on TV as well. Oh man, I don't. It's these aren't injuries where you expect a guy to keep on getting them, like concussions per se or whatever. It's just freak weird leg injuries that he's getting.
yeah, will this put him back in time for playoffs?
You know what? I'm expecting that, and we saw that last year, and it wasn't very good when he came back. It looked like they kind of rushed him. Hopefully, they don't rush him this time, and they didn't really need him last year, but he would be a great help, especially if they want to go all the way. But the good thing is, for at least the Lightning, they have Duran coming back, right?
Yeah, Druin's back tonight, Thursday night, so that'll definitely help. And Braden Point is going to take a lot of more minutes, so that's a big key. I think he's ready to step up for the role. So Braden Point was definitely a big prospect in their prospect pool, and yeah, he should definitely. Maybe he won't fill the Stamkos role, but he will play a top six role for sure.
Yeah, and Drouin as well, I guess. So hopefully that's good for me. I do have Drouin. They never put him on the IR, so that bothered me.
Yeah,
and he was out for a little while. So we'll see. Get well soon, Stamkos. What else is trending? Did you hear that they're probably looks like the Coyotes are moving the team?
Where are they moving to?
Well, it looks like they're the thing that I'm happy about, which annoys me with some of these teams, is they play so far away from downtown. That's the best part of it. They're moving much closer to downtown, from Glendale to the Tempe area. It's kind of in that university area in Phoenix, and it's much closer to their fans and business clientele, from what I hear.
So they're still going to be the Arizona Coyotes, or are they going to be the Tempe Coyotes?
Yeah, they're just going to keep on changing the team name of the city every 2-3 years.
Yeah,
I think that's
sell jerseys.
Sell more jerseys, get more names and stuff. It's a great way to make more money. At least get some kind of production where you're not selling out the arena.
That's what happens when the league runs the team. So
yeah, so you know what? I do like it. I'm all up for teams going closer. Even the Senators are kind of struggling right now this year with attendance. And again, they're almost like an hour away from Ottawa, downtown Ottawa.
Yeah, it's a big trek out to Canada.
Yeah, so I've been there only twice, but it's kind of annoying, especially if you want to drink, right? Because you want to go there, have a few beers, watch the game, and then what do? Then you actually have to go to the bar and drink water for like an hour or two before you even leave.
No, they got a pretty good setup. They have a lot of bars downtown that will shuttle you out. Like you drink pre-game, shuttle you out, and they'll shuttle you back to the bar. Which is kind of neat. That's a kind of creative idea to get them out there.
They should do more of that, especially in these other cities and states as well. Yeah, and then what Paul had to tell me on Twitter, the new rosters for the Centennial Classic alumni game came out, and yeah, they're all right.
Really? You're not a fan?
I'd like to see more of my Russian type players. Like, where is Berzin? Where is Antropov? You know what? I think he was. I know even his son, Danil, was at the Hockey Hall of Fame announcement and night. So, he's in the area. So why isn't he playing? Right? Antropov would have been great to watch. You have like Bob McGill on defense, and I understand this kind of happens with all alumni games. You get guys that are in the media that are used to be players, and they'll jump on the team, which is good, and it's good for them. But I don't know. Like, at least we have Sundin and Wendell there, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I think Antroprov's kind of in the wrong generation of that. I think he's at the very end of Sundin's career generation. I think they went in a specific like 90s, early 90s generation of like Gilmore and Clark and Potvin.
But then you have Gary Lehman from like the 80s and Tiger Williams from older than that and Rick Vive.
Well, I think they do that because they can still play now, and next year Antropov can play, or 2 years from now Antropov can play, where those guys might not be able to skate as well.
We'll see. Some of these guys they can still move well, and it's always great to see a guy like Ala Ferretti there. So, and of course, I don't know, the Red Wings team is still great. Like, Larry Murphy,
where's Stevie Y?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe he's more focused. He's got to be more focused on his team. I think they've got a few more things they've got to deal with right now than him going to play, an alumni game.
And that's why Brendan Shanahan can go play?
Yeah, well, he actually is more basically a part of it, since it is the Leafs versus the Red Wings. He's a part of both organizations. So I think it's a good thing that he's there. But yes, obviously he would have been great.
He's the spy.
He's the spy, yes. He's going to steal some ideas from the old guys. But yeah, it's cool. The alumni, I love them all. Like I was saying, the game that we just had for the Heritage alumni game too. I loved watching that. They're fun to watch. These guys were my heroes growing up, so they're always good. So
I'm excited for Potvin.
Yeah,
he was definitely in my childhood memories for sure.
Yeah, 1993.
Beauty.
Potvin, great year. All right, time for this week's segment of Team ISO. We are Team ISOing the Columbus Blue Jackets. Last year, just like I've said before, we Team ISO'd for every single team, roughly one per episode, and we gave our opinions on every team. This year, we're getting people that are much closer to the team to get a more depth analysis. And of course, I know you're all bored of our analysis and talking so much about every team. So this week's guest is Allison Lucan. You can follow her on Twitter at Allison L. Miss Lucan is currently a writer for the Sports Daily, specifically Buckeye State Hockey, and we'll tweet out her info as well on Twitter at Jablam Hockey. Hi, welcome to the show, Allison.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So you write for the Sports Daily?
I do, and I also do some freelance work for the team site itself. So I'm wherever people want my stories, that's where they'll be.
Perfect. Do you usually do, like I was reading a few of them, and you usually do just the summaries after the games?
Yep. So Buckeye State Hockey, which is the Sports Daily site, is focused completely on Blue Jackets news and actually all of the hockey going on in the state of Ohio. So we cover the Jackets AHL affiliate, which is now up in Cleveland, which is quite convenient. We'll do a little bit about Ohio State hockey and some other college hockey. We have Miami University as well, which is a good source for local hockey. So we'll do that.
They're a good team, yes.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. I enjoy
watching them in the Frozen Four. So
that's right, and we're lucky to have some strong women's hockey too at both of those universities. So that's been cool to follow. So that's what we do at Buckeye State Hockey, and at BlueJackets.com, I'm doing more player features and some analysis features on performance, player by player or team by or aspects of the team throughout the season.
Yeah, you did a great article on Seth Jones at the end of last year showing hockeyviz.com's images. Yeah, that was an excellent article. Good job. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah.
So how do you like Seth Jones on the team so far?
Well, Seth has been huge. You know, when the trade went down last January for him straight up for Ryan Johansson, it was a curious question to see how that would work out. But Seth is very mature, very poised, incredibly athletic, and incredibly hockey smart. He's really helped grow the Jackets game in terms of advancing play out of the defensive zone. And a player I'm sure we'll be talking about quite a bit, Zach Werenski. Seth has been paired with him, and he's been a big part of Zach's development. He's out. Seth is right now with a broken foot, but it's looked to be a trade that if I had that on the table again, I'd probably make it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's the top pairing then.
It is. Shockingly, I did not expect it, but I didn't expect Zach to be that good that soon, to be honest.
Yeah, especially defenseman. Go, Paul.
And it helps that Alex Wenberg is pretty legitimate center to take over Johansson's spot, so that helps big time.
Yeah. He didn't step up, and Torts. I actually talked to Torts about that just earlier this week. He didn't really do it last year. They went from being super strong down the middle to a little bit weak. But Wenberg is really coming on, and that's only good news for this team.
I'm glad that he got traded because he always wanted to have like a bigger role on team. And
exactly.
Now that he's got that, it looks like it's a good fit for both of them.
Absolutely. The article we were just talking about last year, he went straight from third pairing minutes to top pairing minutes.
Yep.
And his production has not seemed to suffer either in the underlying measures or in straight point production. So he clearly knew that he was ready for this role, and it's been nice because the Jackets methodology led by John Davidson is of course build from the goal out. So to get that blue line shored up is a real strength for this team. It was weak for a long time.
Yeah. I love John Davidson. I miss having him on Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah.
We used to have him on the satellite hot stove, and that was one of my favorite segments. And seeing John talk hockey was great. I loved watching him on that.
He's the best.
So the off-season moves, I think they got Sam Gagner. How's he fitting in right now?
Well, it's funny that the Jackets couldn't do much because they were so close to the cap. And then they signed Sam Gagner for $650,000.
Oh, wow.
And it's looking to be the deal of the season. He is a huge part of the top power play unit, which is, again, the theme here, quarterbacked by Zach Werenski. But he's huge on that unit. He plays on the fourth line traditionally, but he's also a player that Torts has looked to a lot to move up the lineup if they need an offensive spark or if Torts wants to shorten the bench a little bit. I mean, talk about the deal of the year across the league. I think Sam Gagner is it. He's on a mission to prove he can still play, and he's doing it so far.
In terms of their recent play, which is crazy, they're playing right now like, I don't know what, they're like 6-2 or whatever in like the last 8. They're playing
it's crazy.
so well.
Yeah.
And what's going on with these blowout games? That game against Montreal? Unbelievable. We already understand Montreal. Like when Price plays, he's outstanding. He is the best goalie in the NHL. But the team plays with so much confidence when he's in the net. And when there's someone else, it's like they forgot how to play hockey, and Columbus just blew them out of the water.
I mean, it was legit. I'm not going to lie. It was crazy. We heard that Price obviously wasn't going to play because they were headed to play Pittsburgh the next night, but I still didn't expect what happened. I mean, it is important to note that 4 of the goals came on the power play. So they did have a little bit of an advantage there, but I mean, I didn't even notice Shea Weber on the ice. I mean, Montreal just folded early, and the Jackets weren't even really trying to score. One of my favorite goals from that game is Josh Anderson literally takes a backhand. He's going for a change, and he just backhands the puck deep into the zone, and it goes in the net. I mean, that was the kind of night these guys were having. It was crazy. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's in the water. The Montreal game was a good game. It is interesting to look at, they just put up 8 against St. Louis this past weekend.
Yeah.
But that is not, as we know with so many games, right? Like that score doesn't represent the game. The Jackets had previously had the league top ranked penalty kill unit, and they gave up all 4 of the St. Louis goals on the penalty kill. So that was not a good game for them, but I don't know where the goals are coming from. I know some of the top guys have obscene shooting percentages, so we can expect that to go down, but hey, it's fun while it's lasting.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny the Columbus goal differential is +14, and that's those 2 games that they blew out Montreal and St. Louis. That's wild.
It's crazy. And it just goes to show, right, that you can't just look at the numbers. You have to really look at what's happening, because that goal differential isn't the real story of how this team plays. I mean, with all due respect, they're playing well, but that's not the story of this team right now.
Yeah. Well, that game, I think they had 4 different players with 2 goals. I think it was Foligno.
Yep.
And all of them. How well is Foligno playing? I didn't expect him to step up and be such a big scorer. I think he's top 15 in the league in points.
Yep.
And this is now, everybody thought it was because of Johansson too when he was there.
Yep.
But he's still doing it now.
Yeah. Well, it's actually been, I would be honest that I think a lot of people are exhaling, because 2 years ago, he gets the All-Star nod. He's playing great when pretty much every single person on the roster was broken or injured. He signs this big contract extension, gets named captain, and then basically just dogs it last year. I mean, has a really bad year, underperforms on all his numbers. He came in this year and he basically said, I don't want to take on the role of captain in terms of taking care of everyone else. I want to take care of myself and lead by example. And that's what he's doing. He's surprisingly really strong, again, playing from the defensive zone. He has a real strength for being available for the outlet pass, for the transition game, and he's just really gritty, and he'll get in there and do whatever he can to move the puck down the ice. And again, he's one of our players with a little bit more of an inflated shooting percentage right now, but yeah, he's leading the team in points. He's 15th in the league, like you said. It's actually a really good story to see, because he's a good guy. He really cares. And for him to rebound like this is positive, and it also makes that contract a little bit more palatable again.
So a guy, I think a lot of people in the NHL don't really know about him that well, but tell people who Cam Atkinson is.
Cam Atkinson is a funny little player, and I that's a pun. He's a diminutive guy.
Yeah.
But he's a right winger. He's kind of been quiet. Interestingly enough, for a skill forward, he has really blossomed under Torts, which is not, I think, what most people would expect.
Yeah.
He almost got his 30 goals last season. This season, he's struggling a little bit. He's on a line with Brandon Dubinsky and Boone Jenner, who are also struggling to get on the board. But Cam is super fast. He's going to be your guy to get the puck into the zone with control. He is tremendous with his shot. He studies goaltenders. He has the really skilled shot and just has a vision for getting the puck in the net. And he's seeing a lot more time on special teams. So he's a sneaky good guy. He doesn't get a lot of league-wide attention, but he should, for sure.
Yeah. And Jenner, then, he came out of nowhere last year. I think all fantasy people were loving him, picking him up. And this year he's coming out pretty flat so far.
Yeah, he's a guy. I mean, look, he's a really gritty, hard to play against, hardworking player. He's the guy that's never going to be outworked. But I think that, again, he did get 30 goals last year, and everyone was talking about that. And that's awesome, but it's about consistency too.
Yeah.
And I think Jenner is really going to be kind of your middle of the lineup guy long term, who's that tough to play against guy, but he's not going to be your big point producer. And again, I think that's okay, because he is valuable to the team. But he takes it worse than anybody that he's not getting points on the board. He just got his first goal, I think, earlier this week. But maybe he's gripping the stick a little bit too hard right now. He's not going to tell us that, but he's not on track right now to do what he did last year. And last year seems to be a little bit more of a pleasant anomaly than the standard long term.
So people shouldn't expect that. Don't expect him to keep on putting that up. But again, he's only, I think, 3% in shooting. So he will start clicking soon enough, though.
For sure.
Who do you have for this year? You expect a lot of things. Maybe an up and comer.
Well, I think the story of the Jackets right now is really two key players. The first is the goaltender, Sergei Bobrovsky, who is another guy like Foligno who's returning to what everyone wanted him to be. He's the secret weapon that no one's really talking about as much by keeping the puck out of the net. But the guy who is just really, honestly, unbelievable. And I'm on the campaign trail for him to be in the Calder conversation.
For sure, everybody
is Zach Werenski. I mean, this kid is 19 years old. He's got 13 points. He's fourth on the team, fourth among all defensemen in the league in points, and third among all rookies in points. I mean, he's a defenseman. It's crazy. And he is so smart. His thought process is so quick. He knows what he wants to do with the puck before it hits his stick, and the play is already happening. He is just, if you have an opportunity to watch Columbus play, watch him play. He's a special talent for sure.
Sorry about that. That's me.
No worries.
Clicking on Werenski to see when he was drafted. So he was drafted
2 years. Yeah.
2 years ago. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue.
And he got drafted. He wanted to play at Michigan, so he finished out his sophomore year. He went to the AHL affiliate, and in some creative contracting, he did not sign his ELC last year. He signed a PTO with the Monsters, played, I think it was like 8 regular season games with them, and then was a huge part of their Calder Cup run last year. I think he ended up being in the top 3 in total points, and again, just a dominant player. Then he looks like someone who's going to come up to Columbus. And like I said earlier, I did not expect this kid to be in the top pair. I was like, oh, maybe he'll start bottom pair, second pair, maybe he'll ease his way in. I mean, he's averaging like 21 minutes a night. He's just incredible.
He hit that goal that he scored last game, just a perfect shot. Yeah. Amazing. It was brilliant. He's had a few highlight reel plays already.
Yeah.
So his future looks really bright.
Indeed.
So with Bobrovsky, like, again, he was almost like Vezina caliber a couple of years ago. What took him out of that? Like, where was he the last year or two that, didn't put him in that top 5, top 10 goaltender range?
Honestly, it's been injuries for him. And so that's why this has been a really interesting season. So last year, as if you were following, you saw the Jackets implode. I mean, they lost their first 8. They were out of it before the month of October was over. And Bob came out and was quoted as saying he lost confidence in himself last season. And then he missed over half the season with 2 separate groin injuries.
Yeah.
So the team really invested in him and his health and his training. I mean, in his full credit, Bobrovsky is one of the hardest working players in the league. Anyone will tell you that. And they looked to kind of change up his training regimen. He lost some weight in the off season. Okay. He also got to play in the World Cup, which was really good to see him get that start and build up his confidence there. Who's to say if he would have just come to Columbus, if it would have been an issue, but he came in with a burst of confidence already from Team Russia.
Yeah, he played some great games. I watched him, so he was outstanding.
Yeah, so that was a confidence builder for Columbus. And then with kind of this new support structure they've put around him with some different training regimens, some additional trainers, he has started every single one of the Jackets games but one. That's obviously not going to continue, but he's 5th in the league right now in terms of save percentage for goalies who've played 10 or more games. And what I love about that, I mean, I don't love this, but what makes that stat really good is that he's 4th in terms of number of shots he's faced. So he's facing a ton of shots, but still making the saves, and he looks confident, and this team thrives off of his performance. So if he can keep at this level, it's definitely a good sign.
That's good for the team. Hopefully he keeps it up. So with that and how they're playing right now, do you know where you see them going by the end of the season? Are they going to make the playoffs? What were you expecting at least?
Well,
it's tough.
To be honest, I was actually expecting, as long as this team could provide some entertaining hockey this season. Last season was really hard.
Yeah.
So if they could have just given us some entertaining hockey, I would have been pleased.
Yeah.
I think they will be a competitive team that's in the conversation. One of the things that's working against them is the Metro division. They're in a division with the Rangers, the Caps, They've got the Pens. They've got even the Flyers are in there. You've got the Devils, the Islanders. I mean, it's a tough division to get ahead of, and even with a pretty good record right now, I think they're still 5th or 6th in the division. So I expect them to be in the conversation, and I think it's going to be interesting because management is really kind of showing that there's a demarcation happening where you've got players like your Foligno, you've got some of your older guys, but they're really focusing on kind of this youth movement, which is going to be your Wenbergs, your Brandon Saads, your Werenskis, your Seth Jones. There's a real look to a very solid future, and the cupboards are pretty full. So if they can stay competitive, I think it's a slow but steady upward climb for them.
So then they might not make the playoffs, and that's kind of our projection in terms of where they might go.
Yeah.
Who is on the fence of maybe getting moved then? It's coming this trade deadline if they're in that area.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because I think the players that they'd be willing to move have some contract issues. You've got a Scott Hartnell who they tried to move even last year, but he's got a big contract attached to him, and he's still producing, but no one wants that contract. I think they're probably not going to be as active at the trade deadline. I think the more interesting question is going to be the expansion draft, and who goes and who they protect. Goaltending is going to be interesting because Bobrovsky has a no move, but they've got 2 really talented young goaltenders coming up through their AHL affiliate right now. And I think there's going to be some guys on the team currently who have no moves who might be asked to consider waiving them to be exposed to Las Vegas.
All right. Well, that's a lot of question marks, but they're still a really exciting team, especially with Werenski on it. Allison, I do want to thank you for coming on this show.
It was awesome. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming on the show. We will tweet Allison L on Twitter. We'll tweet that out on Jablem Hockey, and we'll post one of your recent articles right on jablemhockey.com, our website.
Awesome. I really appreciate it, since everyone's curious about the Columbus Blue Jackets, but we're happy to get a little bit of a bigger spotlight on what's going on there.
For sure. Okay. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Time for Compare. Anisimov versus Simmons. How we do this, I think we haven't done it since the playoffs, right, Paul?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a little while. So how we do this, we both have 1 minute basically to present who we think is better. The reasoning, we're talking about these 2 players specifically because we were saying who is a better 2-man, a setup player, a player that works well with. Simmons has Giroux and Voracek, and Anisimov has Patty Kane, who he plays with. So who is a better 2-man setup man for these 2 players, Anisimov versus Simmons? I've got Artem. Paul has Wayne, the Night Train. So, Paul, you can go first. You ready for this?
I am so ready to smoke you in this.
All right. And your time starts now.
Wayne Simmons plays every facet of the game. Power play, penalty kill, even strength, and puts up points in all of the facets of the game. He is just a dominant player who plays every inch of the ice hard. There's no soft game to his game. Soft is not a term in Wayne Simmons' vocabulary. He plays hard minutes. Anybody that plays up against him is not having fun playing hockey. He has a net front presence that is otherworldly. It's almost like Thomas Holmstrom worldly. That's how good his net front presence is. So Wayne Simmons is definitely a better 2-way player than Artem Anisimov. Yeah, he might have 2 good line mates, but Anisimov has 2 great line mates. So I think that's where Wayne Simmons can elevate the full line, where Anisimov just has to be there.
Oh, and time's up. All right, that was pretty good. All right, and I will start with Anisimov right now. Anisimov. Yeah, he's not Simmons. What is Simmons? He's a physical player. That's pretty much all you said was he's physical. Anisimov is a very good all-around player. The thing which is good about Anisimov is you don't see him too much on the ice because he's a little bit more defensive. He does everything you need out of a player outside of what Patty Kane and Panarin do, scoring numbers. Again, points per game, 1.0, way above, still top 10 in the league. Wayne's not even in the top 40. Leading the league in game winners is Anisimov so far. Simmons, 0. Simmons plays over 20 minutes a game. Anisimov still under 18 minutes per game, still putting up big numbers and doing well. Leading in the top 10, his team, and top 10 in the league in plus minus. Simmons takes a lot of bad penalties. Anisimov, not so much. And again, Anisimov is a solid center and defensive-minded. And he does a lot of the heavy-duty work that you don't see to help Kane and Panarin score.
Time.
So, it's tough. They're both very kind of different players, but they do the dirty work for their roles.
Yeah,
so they kind of have a similar role. They kind of have a similar role. They just do it in a different way. Right?
Yeah.
So how did the poll turn out, Paul?
The poll turned out 86% Wayne Simmons.
Yeah.
There's only 14 votes. We got to get more votes. Come on, guys. Like, whoever's watching this, spread the word. We need more votes.
Yeah, we're going to probably do a poll maybe for next episode again. Get out there and vote on our Twitter @ChablameHockey. But yeah, in terms of these two guys, I would say right now Anisimov is better. But yes, maybe Simmons overall, especially over the years, and what he's done in his career, he's a better player. Right?
So who did you vote for?
I actually did vote for Simmons for you.
Boom. Winner. Winner, chicken dinner. All right.
Yeah. All right, Paul. Do you have a fantasy tip for us?
I do, and I kind of talked about this earlier in our intro about how our fantasy leagues were going, and it was a horrible night for me. But if you have your handcuff goalie, like most people should. Like if you have Holtby, picking up Grubauer is not a bad move. If you have Rene, picking up Mazenik or Saros is not a bad move. Price, maybe not Montoya.
Why would you do that?
Because if you have a top team, you're getting every single one of their wins.
Yes, but they're not going to play that much. So why would you pick up a backup type goalie if he's not going to play much? Like,
because
you already have that roster, that position filled? No.
But then you're guaranteed, say Pittsburgh wins 50 games, let's say. Then Fleury wins 30. You have your third string goalie or fourth string. Like, it's not going to be your number 2. It might be your 3 or 4 who's getting 10 wins.
But isn't it better to have a goalie that's going to play a lot more, that's on an average team? No?
So you'd take Steve Mason?
I never really thought about it too much. And so you're saying it is a lot better to have a backup that plays very rarely but will still put up decent numbers.
As long as he's your backup, your starter's backup.
Okay.
So in my Holtby leagues, I have Grubauer pretty much on every single one. Mm-hmm. If I have a roster spot, I like to keep 1 or 2 roster spots for a backup and for a streamed player that I can just rotate into the next hot guy. And I'm pretty sure I tipped that last season that you should always keep one guy that's just a rotation and just keep rotating every 5, 7, 10 games. But yes, I think you should handcuff your goaltender. Because look at Pekka Rinne, like UC Saros should have got that Mazenik start against Toronto. Because Mazenik has just been brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had Saros,
it
would have helped.
Yeah. And again, if you need help with your goalies and stuff, I usually go on dailyfaceoff.com to check out the goalie probables to see which goalie might play, which is great. I've seen on Yahoo they finally started doing it, and I think this year now.
Yeah,
where they give
check
the
mark.
check mark.
Yeah.
They didn't do that before, and sometimes they're a little late on doing it on dailyfaceoff.com. Sometimes they might tell you as early as noon which goalies are starting. So it's good if you're checking and fixing your teams much earlier than 6 or 5 p.m. Maybe check out their website and see which goalies are playing to put which goalie in. But again, yeah, it's tough because say your other goalies are playing and then play the backup of your main goalie versus the other goalies that are playing. So I don't know, but yeah, it sounds like a good move. Interesting. I like that tip, Paul. It's pretty cool. All right, rumors out there. Big rumor right now is Dougie Hamilton. He's not fitting so well still on Calgary. So it seems like they're just trying to test the water and see what's out there. That's what it seems like right now.
Yeah, where do you think he's going to go?
I don't know. I think they're just testing the water, see what his price value is. What teams are thinking maybe of getting. And again, if they're they're in a rough spot and it doesn't look like they might make the playoffs again, so he could be going somewhere. Again, I'm thinking more near the trade deadline if he does. But where? I don't know.
Does he cost more or less than Trouba?
Well, right now he does.
Well, like,
right?
do you have to give up more for Trouba, or do you have to give up more for Hamilton? Do you think?
I don't know. I think Trouba's value is higher right now. The way Hamilton's been playing for the Flames.
So Hamilton's not even the top puck-moving defenseman or top defenseman available.
He is. I would say he's a little bit more of a, more defensive than at least Trouba. More physical presence there on the back end. So
I think the Flames are in tough if they're shopping him, and Trouba's already on the market. Like I think they're in tough finding somebody to take on Hamilton.
Yeah, more people would want to rather have a Trouba than a Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then the way the Islanders are playing, there's some rumors that Capuano, Mr. Cappuccino, could be on the way out, and I wouldn't be surprised. No. I had him on the list that we said at the beginning of the season because we both expected the Islanders not to be that good this year, and so far they're showing that. I don't know, Lads hasn't been a good fit for them, and I expected that as well. Just a lot of question marks, and the team isn't trending upward, which you thought they were in the last year or 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, and they do not have a winger to play on Tavares' wing. Like, why didn't they re-sign Okposo?
Exactly. I blew my mind that they didn't re-sign Okposo.
I think Garth Snow's got to be on the hot seat as well.
Exactly, and I mentioned that before. Snow has to be on the hot seat, and I don't know. I don't think they have a clue sometimes with what they're doing there, but I want them to fix whatever's going on there, but it doesn't look like they are.
No.
So both of them are on the hot seat, and maybe even Vancouver, the coach or the GM there. I think the GM should be, but again, they don't expect too much out of them, but the moves that they make, with Eriksson and stuff, and the way the team's playing, I wouldn't be surprised if something happens there, but I guess a lot of people didn't expect much out of them anyways, but you never know. Paul, you have some other big injuries other than
Stamkos? Man, Peter, today was crazy. It was just like injury after injury after injury, and everybody fantasy-wise was just like, what is going on? My team is blown up. I got nothing left.
I have Taylor Hall, so I feel the pain.
Gaudreau is hurt. He had this successful surgery that you thought Stamkos did. It was Gaudreau.
Gaudreau, yes.
Out 4 to 6 weeks with a hand injury. So he took slashes. It was just slashes that got broken fingers.
Wow,
that's crazy. Landeskog's hurt. He missed Wednesday practice, so he's out, as well as still Matt Duchene. So Colorado's hurting. Darren Helm's out for 6 weeks, dislocated shoulder. Matt Murray, we talked about, had a concussion. Maybe something else is going on because it didn't seem that bad, but concussions are weird. Mike Hoffman's hurt. Tyler Ennis has a timetable of 2 months now. He had sports hernia surgery.
Wow, 2 more months.
Like you said, Taylor Hall's out.
Yep. He's gone for like, what, 4 to 6?
Out. Yeah, 4 to 6 for Hall. Pasternak's out. Unsure how long. Ryan Miller just got reported that he's out.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh man, I just dropped for one of my teams. I just dropped Markstrom because Smith is back, right?
Yeah.
I think I still rather have Smith than Markstrom. So we'll see what happens with the Coyotes though. So
yeah, injuries galore. It was an unreal day. I don't remember a day like this that it was just injury after injury after injury. Hornqvist today. I could just keep going. There's so many names that just everybody's getting hurt. It's kind of ridiculous. And now all kinds of posts are coming out that this is because of the World Cup. This is because of the shortened season or the compressed schedule. And it probably is kind of that, but it's just I think it's just a fluke that these guys are getting hurt so much. Everybody's playing harder, playing for spots.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of fluke, and I think players are playing hard. They're better, faster, stronger, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be more injuries. Is Kopitar coming back soon? Oh man, these injuries.
I know. You feel robbed watching a game, and you're like, oh, star player out. Oh, this guy's out. Oh, this guy's out. And they're not low-level names. They're top 6 guys.
These are all-stars we're talking about. All of them are all-stars.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Well, Tyler Ennis. Yeah.
Still.
Darren Helm. Top 6. Let's leave it at top 6 guys.
Yeah, but still, some of these guys are some big players, important pieces for each team.
Yeah.
So it's rough out there.
Did you see Minnesota Wild? We talked about him last week with Bob Spencer. Mm-hmm. Joel Eriksson Ek is headed back to the SHL.
Yeah,
he didn't make it past the nine game mark, so I guess they didn't want to burn it because he's playing fourth line minutes. Parise's back, so kind of too bad. We kind of thought he was going to play the whole season, but I guess he's back in the SHL.
That's how it goes. I think that's it, Paul. I think that's it for this episode.
No Ghost Bear?
Well, you can mention
Ghost Bear, healthy scratch. What's going on? I think it's just a lesson learned. Come back and be better.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about him this year. And last year, that second half of the season, you heard at least 1 or 2 amazing plays or goals that he did, highlight reel rushes that he was making. And I haven't heard almost anything since the first week of the season.
Yeah, he's still putting up points, so.
All right, well, that's it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to be team ISOing the Buffalo Sabres. We will also have a new segment, Yay or Nay, with Paul's Penguins at the quarter mark. Basically, last year I think we were doing team report cards. We're only going to do them for the Penguins and my Maple Leafs at the halfway point and at the final point of the season. But at the quarter mark, we're going to do Yay or Nay. Basically, Paul will say a few bright spots or low points of his team so far. Are they doing well? Who's not doing so well? So Paul will talk about his Penguins next week with Yay or Nay, and I'll do my Leafs the following week. And we will also be doing some fantasy up and down. All right, go to JBLMHockey.com. You can listen to our show. You can also check our game notes. A few of the things we talked about today will be on there. You can also subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes and our podcast. And that's it. We'll see you next week.
Bye.